I'm just gonna start it. I always start it though.
That's it. Boys just got better. It's just much better. You got some too.
I was a little focused on the
when
software.
He goes and when Hoy goes, I can go, and then it doesn't make a difference.
I know. I felt like really alone right there for a second.
I just blend in and try to make it sound okay, but this way it doesn't let on to how terrible I am actually at beatboxing.
You're not terrible at anything, my friend.
Oh,
Just everything.
Beg to differ, but appreciate it.
What up? What up? What up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 75 of the MCDG podcast.
Yeah, I'm getting up there now.
It is Monday, March 16th. And man, oh man, have we got a lot to talk about today. It's been
so much.
It's been an interesting weekend. Well,
yes, it has.
more than that, but
minute by minute weekend.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know us, I'm Will McCaskill. To my right, I think it's your left on here. That's Jay Skinner.
What it do?
Right there. And we've also got the magnanimous, I think I already used that one, so the marvelous Marcus Rogers joining us over here.
Hello, people. Hey.
And our very special guest joining us here in the Sapphire Lounge this evening, Mr. Shawn Sinclair of the PDGA.
Yeah, we don't actually have any sapphires yet, Sean, but it somehow just became the Sapphire Lounge studio.
Well, we were talking about the Sapphire, and I kept showing it on the camera, and that was what inspired it.
It really all just came together at the last second.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Better talk to your sponsor.
Yeah, right.
Get the hook up.
Yeah,
well,
they
they gave me the prototypes for free, so I felt like, promote them and show them off. And
if one shows up at my house, I'll definitely use it,
Yeah.
Sapphire Lounge, sponsored by.
I gave one away. And
brought to you in part by.
Ooh, brought to you in part by.
Powered by.
Okay. Oh, powered by.
I feel like powered by has been played out a little bit much this past couple of years. Everybody's powered by.
We gotta let it rest for a second, then bring it back.
Yeah.
Everything's been done now.
We should
got
do it
driven
formal.
by, ignited by.
True.
Proudly presents. I like that. I like to keep it traditional and formal.
Proudly.
This episode of the
if you're
podcast
sponsoring
brought to
something,
you
you better be
by
proud about it.
Anything Clean.
Yes.
Yes.
Washed hands and sterilization.
Yep. So before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and get into the weekly breakdown. Yeah.
We just goof. That's what we do. Have you listened? You listen to the show? Okay, so
Sure.
at least you know.
It's getting more and more fun every time we do it. But
And dude, it's so much better to have a guest in house.
yeah.
So much better.
And it's way less editing that I have to do in post, which is also a plus.
Let's go.
Yep, into the weekly breakdown, starting on Saturday with the Music City. Every Saturday we shuffle and shuffle and shuffle in. The Saturday Shuffle with Zach Evans. And we just wrapped up the Saturday Sanction Shuffle. Boom, nailed it again.
Yeah, you did.
We just wrapped that up at Mill Ridge with our first test event of the new course that we are building out there. And that's one of the reasons we've got Shawn with us this evening, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the Saturday Shuffle still continues. That will be rotating through our mainstay courses. So every morning, every Saturday morning starting at 9, you can go sign up, play at 9:30. Tags on the line, all that good stuff. And the ace pot is up there now. I think it's probably getting close to 200 because it was 90 and we had 47 players on Saturday. So, boom. Yep, that's like almost $200, like 180 something. So get you some money.
Get that money.
And also on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30 sign up, 2 o'clock tee with Dr. John Williams at Seven Oaks, random draw doubles. Ace pot currently at $200.
$200.
So that's just about $400 on
It's
Saturday.
not shabby.
Yeah. And also on Sunday, moving into Sunday. Got singles at Seven Oaks with Q-Tip. 9 o'clock sign up, 9:30 tee. Tags on the line. Ace pot is capped and running at $200. So get you some money. Also on Sunday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you've got random draw doubles at Cane Ridge with Big Z, Robert DeZavala. That's a $12 buy-in, all in. Ace pot, capped and running at $200. Another $400 on Sunday. Get you some money. And starting on Monday, We've got Sanders Ferry doubles, and that is with Russell Hamm and Derek Rowland at Sanders Ferry Park in Hendersonville, and that is a 5 o'clock round, and their ace pot is $400. Get you some money.
That sounds like $1,200 in aces.
Yep. That is a big one. $400. Get you some money.
Side note, all of this is digital money.
Yeah.
Yes.
No money changing hands.
Yes. Yes. Disclaimer for this entire episode.
Okay,
we
here
are
we go.
currently
We're
in
getting
the.
started.
No.
Safety first.
Currently in the world as we exist as human beings, we're in the grips of the zombie apocalypse. Apparently, so.
True that.
Lots of stuff being canceled. The parks in Nashville, I talked to Jim Hester at Metro. They're not planning on closing anything. So disc golf, for the moment, continues. Obviously, all of this is up to TD discretion. And much like all of the normally known facts of the universe right now, nothing is for sure right now. Nothing is certain. There is no logic in this place. We're in the upside down. So stay tuned for updates. Facebook is probably the best place to see what events are going on, what events are not. Currently, the CDC just recommended that no groups of 10 or more gather in public places. So,
It's gone down every week. 100 or more, 50 or more, now 10 or more.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
Next week we won't even be able to do the podcast.
Be the podcast.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I can't. You guys can come. I'm not canceling anything.
Sweet.
The podcast will go
the
on.
podcast continues.
There'll be
You heard it here.
four cubicles in here.
Where's that hand, Sandy?
6 feet separation.
With like a mister
I just-
hooked
no,
up to Lysol.
you gotta do a
in each-
It'll give you a reason and an excuse to go buy one of those suits,
right.
which would be super
We
awesome.
gotta do our handshakes like that. What was that TV show? The movie? Was that not Total Recall? Was it not Total Recall? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Wesley Snipes, futuristic movie.
I have no idea.
Contagion?
Not off the top of my head.
No,
Oh, I got this. Give me a second.
Demolition
Well,
Man?
look at that.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Do you remember the handshake?
I remember. I don't remember the handshake.
No
I remember
one.
the movie.
Okay, so you literally, and then you like this little circle, but you can't touch.
No touching.
Come on, get over here.
I like that.
Yeah. Or we can just keep doing the kid and play.
I feel like a mime. Could be
Yep.
a mime
The mime.
handshake. Come in a box.
I like the kid and play.
And what
The
Blade?
kid and play. No.
I've not seen play.
Kid and play. You kick the
dance?
feet and you do the dance. Dun, dun. Just think about my hair.
You kind of got the kid and play hair
See,
going on.
See. He
I have
knows
not
it.
seen that. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You might not have been born.
Yeah. You're right.
85?
All
So-
right, guys.
But I'm also not a movie person.
Back to
I
the
don't
script.
typically just go to the movies or sit down and watch movies.
Back to Monday. This is an important announcement for Monday. We announced last week on the podcast that we were opening back up the Sunrise Spring League at Sharp Springs Park with the MTDGA folks. Jonathan Carter, not Jonathan Carter, Matthew Ryan Doubt is TDing the Sunrise Spring League. Well, they closed Sharp Springs Park. So that is, for the time being, pending further announcements, moving to Cane Ridge. So
What's the any reasoning behind that? I'm just curious.
just the parks in Smyrna decided to close it down.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about that later, but like everybody's doing something different,
Yeah.
and so there's no universal kind of
Right.
precaution that anybody's being taken. So it's really hard to take anything seriously. But, and also we should probably say, or I should say, because I'm a person that tends to make light of all the things that are being talked about that are sad and depressing and all that stuff. Just 'cause
PSA.
yeah. So not necessarily, I would say that some of the things that I will probably say are my opinions and my thoughts and mostly jokes and not necessarily the views of Music City Disc Golf.
That is true.
Or the PDGA, since we got Shawn here. But, so like I said, stay tuned for updates. But also on Mondays, Sharp Springs Doubles, which would also be moving to Cane Ridge with Jonathan Carter. 5 o'clock round. Tuesday, we've got Random Draw Doubles at Seven Oaks with David Griffin. And that is a 5 o'clock sign up, 5:30 $200 ace pot. Get you some money. And
Some money.
Triple Creek Doubles is back with Case and Newton out at Triple Creek Park in Gallatin. That's a 5 o'clock round. $300 ace pot. Get you some money. That'll be back
Boom
tomorrow.
shakalaka.
And on Wednesday, we have the Wednesday night tag extravaganza. I'm trying to pull up this little thing. See. There we go. There's the flyer.
Nice.
I got it.
There we go.
And that
job,
is
Will.
every Wednesday. Thanks. 5 o'clock round. $1 to play goes to the course fund. Everything else is optional. I believe it's $10 all in. And I need to check with Dr. Hoy. We had 10 or less players last Wednesday, and we may not be having it this Wednesday. So stay tuned. Like I said, for updates on Facebook. We'll probably go ahead with the WNT if Dr. Hoy's into it, and he would be the guy to ask. So, yes, that is a spot's probably going to be around, I'm going to say $20. Bring us some money. Also Wednesday, Cedar Hill random draw doubles with Billy Fowler. 5 o'clock sign up, 5:30 Ace pot is currently at $421. Great googly moogly.
Holy moly.
Get you some money. Duck River Disc Golf presents random draw doubles at Henry Horton State Park. That's 5:30 event. And 4 bounties, over $300 each. Over $300 on hole 12. Bunch of CTPs. It's a bunch of good stuff out there at Duck River at Henry Horton State Park. Wednesdays at 5:30. Check it out. And on Thursdays, we've got White House doubles with Lance Kirby. Random draw doubles, 5 o'clock sign up, 5:30 Ace pot currently at $50. And get you some money.
Yeah.
And I believe the Flying Colors Putting Challenge at Mayday is wrapping up. I don't know. Check Facebook and contact Ed and Kim Brodie for updates on that, but I believe it's finished up. And Barfield doubles was supposed to come back, and I imagine they were probably talking about moving that to King Ridge too, but I don't know anything about it. Jonathan Carter is the man to ask. Stay tuned for updates on Facebook. And then on Friday, we have typically for the last several months, we have not had an event going on, but Jordan Webster is bringing us back a Friday night weekly with the weekend kickoff.
Awesome.
Check it out. Yeah. And there's the pretty new flyer. So starting on April 3rd out at Friday at Naval Hill and Two Rivers, they'll be cycling back and forth. Probably looks like starting at Two Rivers and rotating back and forth. Sign-ups at 5 o'clock, tee off 5:30. And AMs get in for 5, pros for 10. And everything else optional on the side.
Yeah.
$50 ace pot to start, so get you some money. And again, stay tuned for details because this may or may not actually be starting on schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be the may not?
Well, it's just I'm leaving it up to the TDs right now, and every day, by every minute, more and more people are just kind of like, like somebody that you talked to a day and a half ago that was like, oh yeah, we're just going to keep going, and then a day and a half later, like, I don't know, I'm starting to get shook. So,
Gotcha.
Everything is up in the air right now, but that's your weekly breakdown, folks.
Broke it. What's crazy, like you were just talking about that, is it's like don't gather in mass groups, don't gather in 50 or plus more. But if you go to the grocery store, there are definitely more than 50 people gathered in that thing.
Well, now they recommended no more than 10.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that where they were limited restaurants.
Yep, this afternoon, 10 or less.
It's got everybody kind of up in arms, and like, not without getting into too many opinions, but of personal opinion anyway, just to not take that conversation there. Let's get into some PDGA opinion on the matter, and some just
to break into it.
Yeah.
A little bit of framing for the conversation. Oh, real quick, too. Let me give a couple redactions from last week's episode.
Okay.
We mentioned briefly the Ladies League that is about to start up, and we had mentioned that might be happening on Thursday nights, but I think they're actually looking at Wednesday nights every other week. So just wanted to correct that statement. And also, I tried to thank 2 people for helping us with the bag tag at Cane Ridge. I tried to thank Lyndon Lance and Landon Lamberth. Lyndon for donating the awesome guitar picks that we've been giving out, and Landon for helping us with the scoreboards. But I actually said thank you to Landon Lamberth at Bandwagon Music and Repair. So I managed to combine the 2 of them. But I did want to just point out that those 2 guys are deserving of thank yous and credit for all the help, because that was a lot of people, big time operation, and it went really well. And before we get into the topics that I've kind of thought of that the world has presented for tonight, wanted to give a spotlight to one of our fans. I was contacted by a gentleman who has been purveying our fine podcast by the name of Taylor Albuchon. And I believe he lives in the area. He is a member of Team Infinite, and we would like you to go check out his YouTube channel. And it's spelled AUBOCHON. Should have come up with a visual aid for that one. But yeah, his YouTube channel is just his name. He's going to be doing a giveaway once he gets to 100 subscribers. I think he's at 69 right now. He does 60-second disc reviews and some longer disc reviews showing flights and things like that. It's a cool YouTube channel. I watched some of the videos. Check him out. Also, he's got a code for a discount on Infinite Discs, so you can get that on his YouTube channel as well. But yes, so in other news, ladies and germs, over the weekend, the novel coronavirus, aka COVID-19, aka the Kung Flu, aka, can we talk about something else already? Won the award.
We cannot.
Won the award for most annoying viral outbreak of the millennium, or all of human history. Over the weekend, it was a steady progression of crazy, shocking, disappointing announcements, starting with no spectators at Waco, moving into cutting it short at the second round, and then moving into the suspension of the series. So these were rapid fire announcements as more and more details were released by the CDC and the World Health Organization.
Craziness.
And I can only imagine how much worse of a day so many people, including you, Shawn, had than I did. I'm really glad that I'm not in the shoes of people like Steve Story and Doug Bjerkus and Bradley Peets and all those guys that have already dumped thousands upon thousands of dollars into their huge events, and just to have this decision made for them. So, but it's a terrible time and a very scary time for everybody. But Shawn, very interested to see how those events played out for you. You care to give us a little bit of a play-by-play, summarized as much or as little as you prefer?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start off with, for anybody listening, the most relevant and current information is always going to be on PDGA.com. They are making updates as stuff comes through. There was just an update at 4:02 p.m. today.
Awesome.
So what we know, you'll know almost immediately when we make those posts on there. So if you have any thoughts or questions, go there first.
Now, is that coming straight from, where's y'all source coming from?
So our team, our staff, executive director Joe and Mike, and along with the board of directors, are working hand in hand with our lawyers and insurance agents just to make sure we're following, all protocols and everything is, in order. So the second thing I want to say, touching on a point that Will just talked about with can't imagine being in these tournament directors. All of the tournament directors of large events and small events that I have personally talked to and other staff members I've talked to have just gone over the top, being understanding and nice. And I have not talked to one TD that has been upset. Everybody's taken this situation, perfectly. It's all minute by minute, hour by hour, and we're all staying in contact, and nobody has thrown anybody under the bus or made anybody upset. I've been working closely with Steve-O for Texas States, and we were talking 2-3 times a day, and the city of Tyler put out updates, no outside activities, and I would contact him like, hey, what's going on? And I'd update him with PDGA and back and forth. And it's just kind of been that way with all of our events. And ultimately, like you said, we made the decision, I think it was on Friday, while Waco was going on, to suspend all majors and elite events through April. So up to May 1st. And all other tier events are allowed to continue as they are, and we're leaving it up to local city, municipalities, state regulations.
Sure.
They need to follow that. And then if you go to PGA.com, there's an entire section on stuff that we're recommending that tournament directors follow. Obviously the 50 and under that has recently come out from the CDC. If you can keep your events, under 50 people, let's do, online player meetings, YouTube, stuff like that.
Sure.
I was joking earlier about, the digital payout. Let's accept digital entry fees, digital payout, digital
everything right now.
Yeah,
till the near future.
digital scorecard. If you're doing digital scorecard, let one person keep the score. Don't pass the phone around.
Yeah. Just some common sense type.
Yep, figuring out water. If you're going to put water out, don't use the big tubs. Unfortunately, You're going to have to, use bottled water and really encourage people to bring their own water. Don't have food vendors out there. Encourage everybody to bring their own food.
Absolutely.
Try to avoid award ceremonies. We all love this sport and we want to keep playing as much as possible, but we just need to take some precautions. And like I said, the PDGA is in the same shoes as all of you right here and everybody listening. It's minute by minute. I woke up this morning and was like, all right, what's happening, and contacted the rest of my staff, and we had a meeting, and we're just
playing it as it goes, I would imagine.
Yep, exactly.
One day at a time.
Coming from the Music City Open standpoint, as soon as I heard that, my first immediate thought was like, oh man, okay, so if this continues and these things keep getting pushed back, and I want to say with all my heart, I feel for the guys for the Texas State Open, because I know it's their first time to be the national tour. Is it their first time to be on national tour?
Well, there was Texas State's, I want to say back in like 2014, 2015, but completely different TD, completely different location, different crew.
I know how big it is for us here at Music City and being the assistant TD to that tournament, and along with Will being the TD, I know how big that is for us and how much it would break our hearts if something like that, got postponed. So I want much love to you guys in Tyler, Texas for that, because I know that that's hurting. Which leads me to, what's the PDGA's plan? Are we doing some rescheduling? Are we doing some just canceling? Are we going to make these up? Throw them on the back end?
Yeah, good question.
What do we got here?
So we use the term suspended.
Okay.
Which leaves it open-ended for the tournament directors. I know Steve-O for Texas State's would really like to reschedule,
absolutely
in the fall. Fall is a really, really tight schedule. It's super tight.
And the pros don't want to push, much further because they've been out touring now.
Yep. So he would like to reschedule, but he's going to be, giving people refunds as they would like, and following. That's one other thing to talk about is the competition committee had a quick impromptu session to modify the refund policy. So again,
that was going to be something that I was going to bring up too.
Yep, go on PDGA.com, and there's a list on the front page on there about the changes for refunds. It gives the TDs a little more leeway on how they can do stuff with player packs and different things like that.
Well, that's another thing along with that you bring up is the financial aspect of going into these tournaments. I know as a TD, you're not paying for your players packs the day the tournament starts. You've paid for them long time ago.
Yep.
And that tournament doesn't happen. Those players packs where the expense was counted for, but you're trying to make that up in the, obviously on the back end. So, is there anything if we can do? What do these tournament directors do if they have to cancel these events? What's your thought on it? I know that there's probably no guideline or no real right or wrong way to do it.
There's definitely not any guidelines. We're offering suggestions such as if you're looking to reschedule, you can roll your entry fee over.
Okay.
And I know some of the bigger events are working with their sponsors to get the player packs in the form of vouchers, so that instead of having tons and tons of merchandise on hand, they're just going to offer a voucher worth this much, say it's Innova, and they're going to have a $120 player pack the voucher is worth $120, and if the event still happens, then you're going to get a $120 voucher. But if the event doesn't happen, then the TD is not out that money because they don't have thousands of dollars of merch sitting on their floor.
That's a smart way to do it. That's a smart suggestion, and I think, not having a tote. I mean, just running the club, running tournaments, not having a tote inventory in general is huge. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I'm a big proponent of like the club keeping its own inventory and then just kind of just parlays a little bit into its own inventory, because then you're not, your payouts are going directly back to the club. There's no splitting, and not to like by any means cut anybody out, just as a way as a club to have its own merchandise, custom stamps and stuff like that. But then it comes down to who's going to haul it, who's going to keep up with it, who's going to do all that. And then right now you're adding the extra burden of trying to, like with all the people, like you said, I think that's super smart, trying to go all voucher, all digital, everything.
Yeah, and like I said, to go back to the way I started off the conversation, it's been really refreshing to see the community of TDs kind of come together and come up with solutions and not be upset and not show their frustrations. We're all frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all going to be losing money all the way down to the little, one-day mixed doubles event that Sarah runs. Yeah. And she's brought in all this entry fee money and then taken part of that to, get merchandise for the event. Sure. And now it's looking like we're going to have to refund everybody. And, some money could have to come out of our pockets. And then we'll save that merchandise for the next year.
Yeah, hope to recoup the loss there.
Yeah, and people are just being understanding, which is just
blowing
my mind.
Is that the big
really good.
Event she does that she runs in
Columbia, South Carolina? Yeah,
with
for
the cancer.
And
that, I believe, one of the bigger double tournaments.
It's the largest mixed doubles event in the world.
Yeah, it's. Shout out to Sarah. I know you're biased, but I've known Sarah for how long have I been in now?
4, 5, 6 years.
I won't tell stories because she's not here. But when I first met
2014, probably.
I first met Sarah when she moved to town, and just kind of been friends ever since, and then got to know you. But it's it's awesome that she does that, and it's a shame that that's looking like it may be not happening this year.
Yeah,
and there's no chance to reschedule there on that one either. I know it's a big thing for y'all.
Yeah,
all the way out there
it's one of those things. We talked about that today at the PDGA. Just like we'll see where we are as we're moving along, and if we can make events work in the schedule, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, it's a good time, I think, too, to point out while we're kind of on the subject. This is, it's become more and more common with the more sensationalized everything is with all this news, but everybody's looking for a bad guy. Everybody's looking for somebody that they can blame for this, or at least, if not blame outright, lash out at and kind of take their frustration out.
We need a scapegoat.
Yeah, the internet. Oh, the trolls must be fed.
Oh, of course, and that's just
it's awesome that the community of TDs, which I would expect nothing less. A lot of these guys, because I know several of them are really good salt of the earth folks, and I would expect nothing less from them. But it's got to be awesome to see that kind of solidarity, at least when, everybody's dealing with it, from your people that, people on the internet that are saying that we're signed up for, say GBO, and now with the refund policy, they're outraged because they're not getting a refund. And I don't know what the official... I didn't get the player's email from the GBO. I got a different email because I'm staff, so I don't know exactly what it said. I don't want to speak for Doug or misspeak on his behalf, but I don't know what the email said, but I know a bunch of people are up in arms about the refund policy. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's an outrage that it was changed at that point in the season. A lot of people are pointing at that as just and saying it's, just a totally unacceptable, unfair slight against players, and then you see these tournament directors that are taking that onslaught, and they know going into it that that's going to be exactly the atmosphere. But I want to point out, and I think that I've said this in a few places on Facebook, but this needs to be repeated over and over again. the PDGA made that move as a way for TDs and event staff to protect themselves and insulate themselves from the economic fallout from all this stuff. And we mentioned GBO. Dynamic Disc is kind of in a unique position in terms of that because they run their event at their headquarters. All of the stuff they use is their product. They don't have to order from 5, 6, 7 to 10 different companies like a lot of us do. But at the same time, they're still ordering stuff for that event. That's 2,000 players plus people that are coming just for the spectacle. And all of them buy stuff, so they stock up on all of it. And now they've got all this GBO branded stuff that they've got to sell. And it's taking up space in their warehouse, so this is going to affect their business outside of the GBO. Not only that, but Dynamic Disc also has a tour team of athletes that have to be making a living, and they don't know what they're going to do now. I talked to McCabe earlier today, and he's invited all of them to come to Emporia and do some media stuff and some in-store signings and all that. So they're taking steps to try to protect their players, which is awesome of them, as always. But, I mean, as much as they are in a better position, it's not that great. Like, they're taking a massive financial hit from this. And the GBO, its legacy is going to be affected. Any of these tournaments that are canceled at late notice, it's going to be hard not only financially, but in terms of, appearance and presentation to the target audience, to get their trust and confidence back to come. I don't think enough people are realizing this is out of everybody's hands. There's nothing that can be done. There's a pecking order to all these announcements. It's coming down from the government to the PDGA to,
Yep. Well, no, I think that most people recognize, and I hope that, I think it's just the select few again, and I don't know what you've seen or what you think. It's always going to be that small 10%, but I think the majority of us, and then the way I look at it, and Lord knows I've played enough tournaments, and I know the beginner NAMs, that first 3-4 years, it's taken very seriously. And if you're good enough to make it, and that's what you're going to do, then more props to you. But the majority of us, after those first 3 or 4 years, you kind of realize, hey, I'm going to be where I'm going to be. Now let's just have fun. At least that's where I got with it. So it's if I'm paid for a tournament, and they're not doing refunds, hey, why don't you send me that player's pack? Now you're not, I see as a company side, now you're paying shipping to send that player's pack out. But maybe, if I'm a player, to me, go ahead and give me my player's pack, and I'll pay for the shipping, and you can keep my money. You know what I mean? I go to tournaments not expecting to make payout 9 out of 10 times, especially now with kids.
That's one of the two polar ends of the spectrum in response to this. Is you've got guys that even before the announcement about the update to the refund policy came out, all of the awesome disc golfers came out to say, Doug, keep my entry fee, or Doug, Jamie, addressing people saying, keep my entry fee, use it to help the pros, use it to keep, business going, whatever. And that's what you really hope for. Sure. But you're always, you definitely don't, there might be a more significant number of people with that attitude, but that's not what you see on social media at all.
Well, and it's not like the GBO's player pack is a shabby player pack.
It's one of the best out there.
A few years ago, we actually had to update the player pack policy for GBO because there was players that would register for the event and go to check in and leave.
Yep.
Just so they could get their player pack. They didn't have any intention of ever playing the event.
Oh yeah.
Really? Just to get their players pack.
Yes.
It's a nice pack.
So
I played the GBO. What did we play it, Will? Last year, 2 years ago?
We played 2018.
2018, yeah. So that was my first and only GBO as of to date. And Players Pack was probably one of the best I'd ever gotten as an AM.
Yeah, it's legendary. They always do the April Fool's video where we're going to show you the Players Pack, and it's Bobby, and he takes 30 minutes to never show the Players Pack. But
oh, sure.
That's but you on one hand, because you can never tell how the market's going to respond to stuff now. DD drops a new release, and they're sold out in 5 minutes. But with this GBO branded stuff, it'll be interesting to see if a market develops for that stuff, as a novelty or collectible, or if it just ends up being bulk inventory that they.
I think you started it right there, Will. I think that might be he's look at it, sell the GBO stuff. The year the GBO didn't happen, it's going to be worth even more.
Yeah, it's a historic moment, and I texted
Big Germ.
I texted Derek Savory, and I told him, if if you have a bunch of GBO stuff on your hand that you need to get rid of, I'm sure that we can find a way to generate some excitement.
Well,
over
the disc that you could get at GBO that like they do not even remotely do. Like I've got 2 GBO discs that it's a mix of hot stamp and the Dimax, which they don't do very often. It's all GBO, different foil stamp type stuff. That stuff sells generally more than what you bought it for to begin with. So I can't imagine, that being an issue, them getting rid of all that stuff. I think it might sit there for a little while, but I think those type of tournaments probably will be okay. I think it's where Shawn's talking about. It's going to be the guys who are running those B and C tiers.
Yeah, for those guys, that's an economic, permanent financial ruin.
Yep. Well, they're left up to local and state. And as a tournament director, now you're looking at almost a moral question. Like, because, okay, the PDGA says it's up to the state or local ordinance. The state and local ordinance, as long as there's not saying that they're not banning it and they're just saying they're recommending you don't do it, then you're left with that moral question. Do I, as a TD, put those guys potentially in harm's danger, or do I worry about what I've invested? And it's you don't want to be selfish. I would like to think most disc golfers aren't, but at the same time, you're also looking at maybe not recouping all that money. And as somebody who's a TD who's not, I'm sorry, Will,
you're good.
Somebody who's a TD who's not, a big company, that could be a huge, like you were saying, a huge hit. And I think that's where the big hit's going to lie. Is not so much the bigger events. It's going to be the smaller events who literally they put everything they had into it, hoping to make $200 or $300 on top of it.
Well, I think yes and no, because you talk about GBO, and obviously the PDGA left the option to postpone and reschedule on the table. But with GBO, when you talk about what that tournament means, not just to disc golf, but also to the town of Emporia, Kansas.
Huge,
and
huge.
That train, I mean, it honestly, I think it could do more damage if you had to stop it and start it again than if you just called it off. Because, I mean, there's something that big in order to, Shawn, you know how hard it was to get the tour scheduled in the first place. It's...
And that event is just a logistical nightmare.
Well, you bring up a great point, and I didn't even think about this, and I don't know if those local businesses, like the restaurants, and I think immediately of Doobie's because that's my favorite one of them all.
Of course.
The Philly cheesesteaks are the best, absolutely the best. You could putt for a free lunch or a free dinner, whatever you're eating.
I've eaten there so many times I've never had one of their burgers, and I hear they're amazing. I just can't get away from those.
Just for the small town's sake, that they've canceled, that they got that cancellation out enough time for them not to have made those orders for the huge influx of people that come into town, because those guys have to account for that now that it's been established and it's big and it's they're used to it now, so they're making they're taking account for it. Have they ordered all that stuff now to be stocked up yet, or have they not? Hopefully they haven't, but if they have.
Well, anything that's less than 60 days away, anything that's less than 60 days away, stuff's probably already been purchased for it.
That's what I'm thinking. Most restaurant business, if they don't do straight farm to table or local delivery and stuff, they probably got orders spaced out kind of based on what their business model does. I would think. Now, local mom and pop, maybe not.
Yep.
But at the same time, they are probably accounting for that.
And the other side of it is everybody knows the 1,600 players that come in there and the block party and all the food and everything you're talking about, but the staff and volunteer side of it is a logistical nightmare to tell those people, hey, I know you were gonna fly here or drive here from Colorado and you got hotels, can you just hold off
took a week's vacation
for a few weeks to see if we can reschedule? And it's just, for them, it's just impossible with the size and logistics of that event.
Dr. Hoy and
I didn't think about that. That's another aspect. Like for me, when I took it, I had to take a week's vacation, and you have to schedule that, at least 3-4 months in advance. If you're wanting a week off at a lot of companies.
Yeah. And
so that's huge. You got your vacation approved. Now you're sitting at home. Can you get a refund on those flights? Can you,
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, obviously I can't even speculate at all.
All I can say is, damn you, COVID-19. I need a reset button for 2020, and let's just start it all over again.
It has been rough.
You know what I mean?
It's been tornado, and then
Nashville,
the Kung flu.
The Kung Flu, the Tornado. The Tornado is, and guys, thank you for all the support out there that lended a hand or asked how the courses were. I know that there's people reaching out from Memphis and Alabama and Mississippi, different places asking how the courses were. If you guys are listening, thank you guys. That's super awesome. And I as a club member and on the board, appreciate that a lot. Just having those people reach out from outside those communities.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And another thing that was thrown for a loop by this is I forget the guy's name. His last name is Tomeno. His wife's name is Madison. They're Prodigy team, and they're from Oregon, and they were on tour this year, and they were going to come here and run an event at Cane Ridge, and they were going to donate 50% of the raffle proceeds to Beth and Austin Mater to help rebuild their house. That got canceled, but they're still going to do the raffle online when they get back home and get some money to Beth and Austin. But man, I mentioned how grateful I am that I'm not Steve-O or Doug, and I'm like, dude, Jay, we are incredibly fortunate.
Yeah,
we
really are.
Like I've mentioned, the 60-day rule of thumb for a tournament of that size. I always try to make sure that for A tier and anything obviously bigger, you have everything purchased and on its way by 60 days out, and you're using money from the registration to do that, and to be asked after the point where anything is returnable to give all that money back. If you're Doc Turner running Bowling Green AMs, you go bankrupt.
Yep.
This, if you're somebody that's trying to do this to make a living and provide awesome events for people, and you've already dropped $20,000 in merch, and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under you, there's very little coming back from that. I would say.
And when speaking with some of these TDs of the major events, and you're saying the 60 days, the TD and the LOC working on the event have kind of come up with some hard dates and deadlines as to when they're going to kind of try to make a decision of, hey, is this event going to happen or not? Those dates will not be announced, of course, but it's in the back of their minds. Like, if we don't have something in place by this date, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's on the minds of everybody moving forward, past the May 1st deadline. What's going to happen?
Yeah, that's huge. Is like the first thing I thought was this won't be the first wave of suspensions. The first thing I thought was this is going to happen. This is going to get pushed back another wave. Will we make the second wave, or will it be a third wave? And that, you hope that what we're doing is the correct way, and
it's uncharted territories.
There really is no correct way.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all brand new. I guess
you're going to piss half of the people that are affected off no matter what you do.
Well, I'm hoping that we can look at it as a small thing. And the last thing I'll say about the TDs and stuff, hopefully the competitors who signed up can look at it as, okay, I'm taking anywhere from a $40, $30 hit to a $200 hit, depending on the event you're signed up for. Can you take that hit, but then also turn around and look at it and really, like you're saying, you're really upset because you're not getting that back, but then turn around and look at it from the TD's perspective, and it's not $200 to that TD. Yeah. Hopefully we can have that perspective. If you're listening and you don't have that perspective, maybe I can change your mind there. I don't know. But that's just perspective right now. If we're going to all come together with all this and we talk about community and disc golf and talk about all that, let's show that and take that perspective and realize, okay, I'm taking a $200 hit. And yes, for some people that's a lot. Some people it's not. But take that hit and realize that it's not the TD is, if that weren't the case, the TD's not taking just $200. That's way more than that, or $30 or $40, whatever.
I'm not a social media hound by anything, but the little bit that I have seen from the tour players has not been negative.
Not at all. I think
everything I've seen has just been like, hey, we had some stuff happen. We all know what's going on.
Sure.
I think I'm going to head home, or I'm going to go try play this event, and we'll see what happens.
Well, somebody's bound to make this comment on Facebook, but I think a lot of that is probably also because, and I'm just making assumptions. I have no hard information to back this up. No facts.
No facts.
But I would imagine the pros are getting refunds. it's largely it's money from AM registration that goes to purchase things like players packs and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So with the AMs, particularly, it's probably that's where the outrage lies, because they're the ones that are getting the players pack rather than a.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that they're the one. Unfortunately, if you're running an event, like, typically that's where, like, typically you don't make any money running an event, but if there is $1 or $2 that's made, it's not typically on the pro side because their entry goes into their payout. So that's typically where you're always caught up in this situation, is on the AM side of things.
Yeah.
And, man, and I'm not everybody, and I hate to say it, and I keep saying the same thing, but it's just, like, to me, and I've got kids, and I don't mean to, like, preach or anything like that, but it's like, to me, even with kids and having a budget and all that stuff like that, the hit and the loss that you have for some tournaments you signed up for that maybe you're not going to get to play, to me, is not that big of a deal if you're possibly even remotely saving somebody from more, I don't want to say dying, but at the same time, I've had the flu, and if they say it's just like the flu or worse, then I don't wish that on anybody, because the flu sucks.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can just. I'm putting some faith in the community here in the disc golf world.
Yeah.
Just hoping that they can.
Main bullet point of
look
this
at it that way.
presentation is that this really stinks for everybody, you guys,
Yeah.
and let's not freak out on each other and try to put the weight of all
Love.
of this on anybody or the blame of this on anybody. I mean, I'm sure the PDGA is losing money on the whole deal. I'm sure everybody
is
out something on this.
Look at the economy, like, in general. Look at the stock market. Everybody's losing money right now. It's not, nobody's making any money except for the Charmin. Charmin's making some money right now.
Netflix.
Snuggle. I mean, the dudes who do the
Perel.
industrial economic rolls that look like, one ply, folded 9 times. They're making money right now.
Invest in Kroger.
You got Kroger, Costco.
Yeah,
Walmart.
Newspapers
Walmart
are
for
making
sure.
a comeback.
That's crazy too.
Yeah, just
in
50
general.
newspapers. What
Have
was that,
y'all been in the
25,
grocery
50
store? Y'all been in the grocery store and seen that? It's
Yep.
crazy. I turned the corner. I was like, Ashley said something about not having any Band-Aids in the house, and I was like, all right, I'll look at some Band-Aids while I'm at Kroger. Turn the corner, first aid section gone.
The first aid section?
First aid section gone. I could see that more so than toilet paper. But then we're making shrimp fettuccine Alfredo. I turned the corner to the pasta aisle, and I kid you not,
War zone.
there is
gone.
literally like lasagna pasta. Luckily, there was fettuccine pasta,
Yeah.
angel hair pasta, regular spaghetti pasta,
lasts
macaroni elbows, like all bow tie pasta gone. Like the little pasta you put olive oil and stuff on. It tastes terrible with olives. Ugh.
It's like the
Anyway,
scenes
that
in
was
Walking-
gone.
Like the scenes in Walking Dead where they
It
go
was
into
crazy.
the old grocery
grocery
stores,
store, yeah.
and they're already been stripped out.
Of course,
There's a couple guys walking around and they're like, I need poo.
yeah, I mean the freezer section, like, anything that was
Charmin.
frozen was like down to like I looked at just DiGiorno pizzas because
Yeah.
they canceled school for the next 3 weeks. All right, so some frozen pizzas for lunch, a
Oh,
couple
so
of days.
3 weeks?
3 weeks. Well, they're doing 2 weeks of canceling, and then the last week of that is their normal spring break. So they're just
break,
throwing
yep.
it on top of it, and I was like, wonderful, thanks.
Yeah, so main bullet point here, guys, on the
But anyway.
coronavirus thing is, dude, it's let's understand that everybody's in the same boat and not try to light anybody on fire. Put your pitchforks and torches away and everybody calm down and eat some fruit or something.
Yeah. Try a salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be healthy.
Caesar.
I did see it was funny.
delicious.
They said that the quarantining and everything is going to cause the rise of a new generation, and they're going to call them. The term
Yeah.
I heard was quarantines, but
Be
Marcus,
the quarantine boom.
Marcus told me there's another one where they're what was it? Coronials.
The coronials.
Coronials. I bet it will be. Like Marcus' words, the coronials.
I can't wait to meet these kids.
Oh my gosh. They will not be immune to anything. They'll be like allergic to everything, get sick all the time.
The coronials.
The
There's
epidemic
gonna
is
be a
going to
lot
Their
of them
hands
in
will be
about a
like,
year.
they'll never be soft. They'll be like red because they have to wash them all the time.
Brought to you by the millennials.
It's
Yeah.
the next baby boom.
Super pale because they never go outside.
You were there.
The air is gonna make me sick.
Those will be the early adopters of the Neuralink from Elon Musk that have the chips in their brains and all that.
I'm ready.
Transplant my
It's gonna be
consciousness.
like,
I'm ready.
Speaking of,
I'll
'cause
be
I
the
know we're
first
getting
one.
nonsensical sometimes, Will, and I know we talk Netflix shows because we both love to share. Have you caught Altered Carbon season 2 yet?
I haven't finished it. I'm about halfway into it.
Man,
But
I know.
Honestly,
I'm honestly,
I
dude, the
binge
second
watch
season is not as
everything.
good.
Since
as
we're all
the first.
quarantined, what are we
anyone-
watching?
If anyone tells me anything to watch, I'm going to binge watch it. So I watched the entire season.
It's so good.
Maybe in 2 days.
The first and second, or just the second?
Oh, second season. Yeah, I watched the first one as well.
Hot
Yeah.
take.
Wasn't it crazy?
It was crazy.
Hot take. First season, way better. Way better.
Wait till you
Slightly disappointed
You haven't
in the
finished
second
it.
season.
You haven't finished it
It
yet.
seems a little goofy.
You have not finished it yet.
That's true. I'll finish
That's
it.
all I'm gonna say.
finish
What are
it.
you watching? What are you watching? in
Maybe
your
Marcus,
quarantine TV?
Marcus
I'm
can
binge
double.
watching Westworld.
Maybe Marcus can double check real quick on his little tablet over there. But I thought I heard Altered Carbon was canceled.
No, they just dropped a second season.
But
It might be.
Oh, was it
after-
canceled after it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought the
Oh.
So I was right.
He caught the heartbreak from Sapphire Lounge.
yeah, you
The
did.
heartbreak.
But
I gotta look this up.
On
I'm
top
sorry.
of
that's
this-
what I'm saying. Double check my
On
facts
top of
here.
this,
I don't want to put out any
I
fake
was
news.
actually really surprised they threw a second season out there because I thought after the first they kind of summed it up. I thought it was going to be one of those little mini series, just one series, and so they brought it back. So I was, as a fan of the show, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I was kind of surprised they even brought a second season back.
So the first thing that pops up, Altered Carbon Season 2, 10 things that didn't make sense.
It's Altered Carbon. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. Okay. The fact that you have a chip that has your consciousness in it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and they never explain how it really, really works. But, and, you know, that's a good one. But Westworld, speaking of, I literally just started that. I saw a preview for it, and I was like, why have I not seen this show?
So
What are you
my
into?
question
What are you and
is,
Sarah watch?
everybody's freaking out about Baby Yoda. Is that actually
I've not seen
Yoda as a baby?
No, it's a
I'm not
thing
sure.
of his species.
So they're just calling the species Yoda.
Yeah, nobody knows
Yeah.
the name of the species. So when they say
It's a Yoda species.
the appropriate name would be the child.
Speaking of Baby Yodas, if you would like a handmade Baby Yoda, hit up Sarah
Hoyle
Hoyle.
Lorenz.
Yes, $25, and you can have your very own handmade Baby Yoda.
I wish I had a picture to show.
And
Those
let me
things are
tell you
awesome.
this: when I say Sarah Hoyle has talent with some crochet needles, I am not kidding you. She made the most awesome octopus for my daughter when she was born, and I have a Baby Yoda I bought for Ashley. They are pretty sweet, and she is very, very talented with the crochet needles.
Yeah, it's art. It's
Have
definitely
you
art.
seen any of her stuff that she's done?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
pretty
some of it.
crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Funny enough, that's something me and Jay's mothers have in common.
Making beans.
Oh, she made you. What'd she make for you?
Myself and my son, blankets.
Oh, nice.
I might have a hat.
Oh, my mom made the hats.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mom
she.
made the hat.
Yeah, shout out to my mom.
I don't think
Shout
they
out.
make a hat for that hair.
She makes. Yeah, I don't know. I have to
I
make
need a new one.
What are we calling that one?
Social
today,
distancing,
Marcus?
red touch. No touch.
What were you calling it earlier?
Hit me.
What were you calling it earlier?
Sponsored by Clorox.
Everybody, yeah.
But yeah, so man, and I'm just gonna say this right now, you guys. I've barely finished talking to the board about this. This is before we get off all the me criticizing everybody for talking about the coronavirus, and here we are, probably an hour into talking about the coronavirus. But yeah, the E3 at Ogwood. I was talking to Phillip Dawson today, and as you guys know, his dad David lives there at Ogwood with him, and he's elderly and not in the strongest of physical health. And his partner Tasha has got health troubles of her own. She's got a chronic lung condition, and so also if you can take into consideration Trent, who's a child that lives there on the property, also basically everybody that lives there is at high risk for catching this thing. So after speaking with Phillip today, and I've been talking to him periodically as all this news has been dropping, we are going to, and let me be very clear, postpone Event 3 in the 2020 Bag Tag Series at Ogwood. I believe Phillip was also talking to anybody else that has events scheduled there, but that's not going to happen on April 5th. Obviously, as always, our first concern is with the safety of our players, and obviously I'm going to take the concerns or the health of the people there at Ogwood very, very seriously. Those are my family. I love them. I love those guys and gals. So, yeah, we're going to come back and revisit that after all the dust has settled from this and everybody stops pulling their hair out and crawling across the floor and buying up all the dadgum TP. So, also, as you guys know, we've got the Tennessee School for the Blind fundraiser coming up this Saturday.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Will you please grab those headphones that I donated and put them up to the camera so if Dr. Hoy is watching, he can see that they are unopened, sealed, and he gave me all that crap about donating. Now, go ahead and open it up because you can open the outside package so you can see what they look like on the inside. Pull the unfold it. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, like the outside.
Like
so
this.
You can see that the tape is still on there, never been opened. That's for you, Dr. Hoy. Thank you for
Hermetically
all
sealed.
of
His first question when Jace mentioned he was donating some earbuds was like, "Are they new?"
Yeah, I was like, "Are you for real? Like that's what you think when I donate something?
What have I done
I was like,
to deserve this?
I've only used one ear, bro. I mean, the right ear is still good.
I left the left one out. That's just the right."
Yeah, so everybody can see here. This is from Jay Skinner. This is a donation for the raffle at the Tennessee School for the
Dr.
Blind
Hoy.
fundraiser.
Thanks, bud. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Appreciate it.
And I've got a pile more of those that I've been working on trying to take some pictures and video of. I've got donations from Smoky Mountain Discs, Bigfoot Trading Company, Nashville Disc Golf Store, Flight Co., Full Flight Disc also just sent an awesome, really awesome box. So look forward to some unboxing and videos of that. Flying Colors Disc Golf, also another one. There's a bunch of them. I know Ladies First Disc Golf also has something on the way. Another round disc golf
I saw
has
some
something
Full
on the way.
Flight stuff too.
Yeah, I just mentioned the Full Flight. We've got Black Monocle Discs gave us a big box of discs and stuff as well. So we've got a ton of prizes for this raffle. And go figure, all this stuff would happen. The CDC just dropped that recommendation from 50 to 10. I was toying with the idea, and I'm still kind of half foot into this strategy and half foot in another direction, but was toying with the idea of switching it to a flex start format similar to what we did at Mill Ridge on Saturday, letting everybody play from 10 to 2, because I don't think we had more than 10 people in one spot at any point on Saturday. We had 60-some players.
Viable option for some things.
So
Yeah, that worked great.
Still thinking about, and that's probably what I'm going to do, is switch to a flex start format, let everybody keep a UDisc scorecard, and just email the screenshot to us or whatever, and let us keep score that way. Do all the payout online and set up credit for the AMs at the store, and let everybody pick up their trophies at another event after all this is over with, just so we can still try and raise some money for the school guys. And keeping the change in mind, my idea is with the flex start from 10 to 2, if you come and play, everybody gets a free raffle ticket. Probably just going to do $5 a ticket and 4 for 15. Buy 3 get 1 free.
Sweet.
And just go ahead and put 1 ticket in for everybody that plays, and then do the raffle online after the event. Just go ahead and open up ticket sales starting this week and start letting people PayPal for their raffle tickets, and we can keep track of it that way. So hopefully I'll be making this announcement tomorrow officially after I've slept on it and fleshed it out a little bit more. But it worked really well at Mill Ridge on Saturday, and I talked to Dr. Martin at TSB, and they were concerned about endorsing the event or having their name associated with it, just in terms of political backlash for having being on a part of an athletic event going on while the CDC is recommending all this stuff. So I talked to him and I explained to him this is what we're going to be doing, and I had already emailed back and forth with Carrie at TSB earlier this morning, because the original plan was for some of the staff to bring out some of the students and their parents to be a part of the event and at least the awards ceremony and stuff. I had already emailed her this morning telling her I didn't think that was a good idea and that we could invite them out to another event later in the year to kind of celebrate our partnership. But the other option, rather than doing a flex start, would be rescheduling it. And the thing that we're really trying to raise money for with this event is for their prom and their senior trip. Assuming that happens with all the travel restrictions and stuff. But I don't want to try to reschedule, and with it being the busiest part of the year, we end up not being able to have the fundraiser event until after the school year. So I'm strongly considering just moving to a flex start format. I think it's doable. I think Saturday proved it. So,
yeah.
But those are the big announcements. pertaining to the coronavirus, and now we can freaking talk about something else already.
I want to talk about, because I unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I had to pull fiance duties because my fiance's best friend got married, so I had to go to a wedding on Saturday and miss the Mill Ridge Mayhem Madness. What do we call it? I forget, but either way,
Mill Ridge Mayhem.
I missed
#1.
it, so I want to know how it went and what the course was like and what everybody thought, and I want to hear about it. Tell me.
Yeah, this was our first event. Our first test event of the new course at Mill Ridge. Another reason why we have Mr. Shawn Sinclair in the studio in the Sapphire Lounge.
I want to give you some golf
Sapphire
claps and
Lounge.
some snaps right fast. Because, and the reason being, I absolutely...
Just for the audience, Mill Ridge is the course we're using for the NT finale, the National Tour finale, assuming that happens.
Yeah.
So it's a new course that we're building, and we just had our first event there, just for context.
Sorry. But I absolutely love the course. And I know that I'm biased to MCO because I am the assistant TD, but I am showing, I look at it from a different perspective because I like to at least think in my head that I could design a course if I ever got the chance. But I honestly, without a doubt, want to say that I absolutely think this course is one of the best courses I've seen and played. I
Awesome.
truly
That's
do
cool
that,
to hear.
dude. It brings what I think disc golf should be because it brings in mental golf. And I mean that as an overall sport because golf is transcendent past ball, disc, whatever it is you're throwing. If you're throwing a club and you're shooting to get the lowest score, it's golf, gosh darn it. So I just want to say shout out to you for this course because I think you have thrown down a 1,060 rated golf course.
That's 1060 rated course design right there.
That's what I'm telling you. Maybe even 1,200 or 1,100. Who knows?
1,200.
1,200.
Never been seen before.
I'm still happy.
Take that, Macbeth.
That's not even a real
give it
number.
A 10. Anyway,
Yes,
so how did
Shawn,
it go? What did you
congratulations on designing an epic course. And I
Yeah,
have
dude,
been
you're
talking
awesome.
to a lot of people, and the feedback has all been really, really positive. Michael Coyne, who was my assistant TD, what was that, 2018 or 2017?
I did last year. It was 29. Yeah, so 2018.
2018. He played it. He can't wait to get back out there again. He thought the property was way better than Ravenwood. He loved it.
It's so. Like you said, when you look out there and you walk out, you're like, oh, this is what the course is going to be like. Open
Open but
nothing.
technical. Everybody
And
that I've talked to
not
has mentioned the
that. It's so
technicality
awesome.
involved of it. And
It's so great.
Yeah, the goal was, obviously we had an unfortunate situation with, phone call coming in, Ravenwood, and so had to look at other options, and Mill Ridge was one of them, and I think at least the three of us here kind of looked at it on paper, kind of how everybody's done them, and like, not so sure, and then Will went out there and looked at it, and he's like, I think it could work, and so then I went out there and looked at it and started walking the property and started getting more and more excited about it. And
Sure.
The way it laid out was that it needed to be a course that forced you to throw shots
Yeah,
to be rewarded.
absolutely.
There's a ton of holes out there that if you do not get to an area, whether it's an open hole or a wooded hole, you're not going to be rewarded if you're not in the right location.
Yeah, it's a placement course.
Yeah,
You are going to have to literally in your brain think about where you want your disc to land and end up, because if you don't, you will not have opportunities to score.
Yeah, and it's not coming in at the 13,000 plus like
But shout out to you too,
Ravenwood
because that's
did.
the world's longest course ever used in tournament.
maybe. But
Central Coast said so it's got to be true.
yeah, Mo Barani couldn't find anything longer.
yeah, so it's going to come in around 9,000 feet-ish for the MPO, but
It's a good distance. With what it provides, that's a great distance.
Marcus can probably attest to it. After you play one round out there, the elevation is really sneaky out there.
Oh, yeah.
Really sneaky.
It's great, isn't it?
So, although it may not be this monster 12,000 foot course, but when you're done, it's going to feel like you played an 12,000 foot course.
Oh, yeah. I think that not only physical fatigue, but like I was saying earlier, mental fatigue is going to play a big part of this. And I know that, like, you've played Tennessee States. I don't know if you have, Will. Those courses, and I'll be real with you. They're pretty easy to score on, but it takes mental thought to throw a lot of those holes on some of those smaller courses that are at Tennessee State's. And I remember playing that tournament, and after 3 rounds, you walk out of there, you're not just physically drained, you're mentally drained. And I feel like Nashville provides that at all of our local courses, and you took Mill Ridge and basically did the same thing with all of that. You're going to be mentally exhausted walking off of that place.
Yeah, I mentioned the technicality of it. I mean, this is like, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's always going to be an instinct to go back to comparing it to Ravenwood, which, I mean, is apples to oranges to me.
Yeah, it really is.
Once you get familiar with the property out there and the lay of the land, it's a totally different animal. But, I mean, talk about your ultimate mix of distance and technicality all being a part of the equation in determining who's going to come out on top. And we played the FPO layout on Saturday, which is obvious. I mean, you know that FPO players are still at the top of level of competition, and most amateur division players, even a good advanced male, is lucky to play at that level and to score and put up stats like at that level. So I was interested to see how the par structure was going to play out because, and just really how the course was going to play in general because I knew we would have an abundance of amateur players, being that it was a flex start, open to everybody, part of a league. And I was just really, because your strategy with our courses for the MCO has been keep the par and the par structure the same, using a combination of of alternate tee pads and alternate pins. So, and I think it worked out exactly how it should. I mean, I played the first couple holes and immediately was aware, like, man, this entire place, because of the tricky elevation, the entire place is an optical illusion. Something can seem like a 200-foot putter shot away, and it plays more like 260. And it just, you one obvious line or gap is not necessarily the best route to the target.
Well, no, there's a lot of false lines out there.
And
you've outdone yourself. You really have. Like, I truly, honestly think that, like,
everybody said it was a lot of fun.
Not make a better course.
Kicked me in the rear. Like,
yeah.
Was a hard course, but they had a lot of fun and it was very pretty.
And it's fair. It's not hard, like unfairly. It is incredibly fair.
If you're having a rough time, but it's still fun, I think that's the true test, because that's a good playable course that's challenging and it's meant for the top level of competition.
Yeah. And would you agree to say that it's 80 to 90% pool cart friendly?
Yeah, I would say the only rough areas are going to be back there on 5 and 6 when you're trying to get up and over those rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I was cutting in that all the trails, like the trail from 5 to 6 and from 6 out, and all of that, I was trying to kind of go in a path and also at a width that somebody pulling a cart wouldn't have too much trouble to get.
Well,
you might have to pick it up real quick every once in a while, get over a big rock.
Sure. Yeah, and something I wanted to say is a big shout out, thank you to everybody that came out. And it wasn't ideal conditions, not from the weather, but, we had earthen tees and, we're literally cutting in fairways 2 or 3 days before the event. I mean, I was out there the day before cutting in holes, so there was a lot of rough and there was a lot of, briars and stuff that could really get you if you were not in the fairway. So I just personally wanted to thank everybody that came out, and I didn't hear people, moaning and complaining and, saying this place was too rough, blah, blah, blah. So big thank you to all those people.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I did hear about in those terms, see if you can make sure that you're facing the label on that mic, because I was just getting a weird.
There we go. There
he is.
There he is. So
I haven't had the headset on in a while. I haven't.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, you don't have to put your headphones on.
Yeah, you don't have to wear them.
No, that's why
right now. It just sometimes.
I guess I can take a couple seconds here to go through the course.
Yes, I'm interested.
I was just going to say.
Do you have my score up here?
I don't know if
was that 9 over?
You've got it right in front of you.
Is it on there?
I heard that you shot really well.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now. You're going to see.
Who shot hot before we disclose
I was on the card today with DJ Wicks. I was also on the card with John, and they definitely showed me how to play golf. This course is amazing. Big fan. Big shout outs to the people who are in the room right now who did a lot of work on this course. It definitely kicked my butt. If you can look at the score right now, you see I shot a 75, and the majority of that came on one hole. I went out of bounds. I lost the disc and ended up getting a 9 on one hole.
So
I love the course.
75 was not.
I bet he just guessed it right there.
It was par
over
66.
800
We played a 19-hole layout.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's
Why not? See, that's
Okay,
a
well,
negative
19 hole
beside
layout,
your.
You're right. It is a little bit forgiving if you want to think about it that way.
yeah.
The rest of the course, really technical, fun shots. What was the hole? My favorite shot, the iconic, what I call the
13.
iconic hole.
13.
The one that
13?
everybody keeps talking about.
Oh man,
Yep.
I've got the video. It was great. I threw a flick shot. DJ threw a backhand. It's very, very
Is that a plus
approachable.
nine?
You just definitely want to go. I'm sorry. Is that a plus 9? Yes, that's a plus 9.
No.
I forgot.
Look on the screen.
Yes.
The right side looks like a plus, but the left side looks like a negative.
So Jay is making fun of my score
No,
right now.
I'm
but
not.
it's okay.
No, I'm
I got
not
a plus
making fun of
9,
your
I'm proud
score.
of it because
No.
you know what? If I had a second
Gosh dang it,
round,
Marcus.
I would come back and score
What's your
at
rating?
least 10
What's your
strokes better.
What's your rating?
My rating?
Yeah, you're probably like 50 points higher than me. I'm not making fun of you by any means. I just was like,
The
I
course
can't
is
see
amazing.
what. I'm like, which one is which?
That course
I
is
played
amazing.
Ravenwood. It's not as long as Ravenwood, but definitely you feel like afterwards, like, man, I need to go home and take a nap because I
Dude,
just got my
it's-
butt whipped.
What did you think though when you first got out of the car? Your first initial reaction?
Well, every part of the course reminds you of like one of the special holes that you see on the professional tour. Like every single hole reminded you of a special hole that you see on the tour, which it made me excited. It made me feel like I was playing a professional course. Like this course was made for my game. If it wasn't made for my game, it was made for like, people who wanted to challenge themselves. And I love a challenge. I think the course is outstanding, just as good as some of the courses we have right around the corner, like the Big Cane, just as challenging as Cedar Hill, just as challenging as Triple Creek. Those are courses I think that are going to push your game, going to make you elevate your level of play, and it's going to take you to another level to make you a better golfer. And if you play this course literally 2 or 3 times in a row, you'll be a better golfer out the gate.
Well, I saw
It's
you
that good.
smiling whenever he was talking about placement and being in certain positions.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that out there? I guess you didn't get those positions.
I digress. Good job, guys. I can't wait to play it again. I'm going to let you know right now. I played it blind. Yes, I got 9 over. Give me another chance. Guaranteed. You guys mark my words.
I'll
okay?
play with you, so I
Next
can
time I
shoot
play
down
this
over and you
course,
can make fun of me then.
we're going to bring up both the scores, okay? You're
Okay.
going to see a 13-stroke difference.
I hope so.
Well,
Right.
check out some of the
Dude,
stats.
I mean, like it was. I thought the scores was pretty resemblance. What did you expect the best to be? I mean, you never know who shows up.
well,
But
here's
like,
some of the stats, and if you go back, we can go ahead and look at.
oh, you got the stats on it. Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got
Big
stats.
shout out to fellow PDGA employee, staff member Todd Lyon. He did all the stats and sent those over to me.
Thank you,
Oh,
Todd.
awesome.
Todd is
Awesome.
awesome. He deserves a lot of credit for
Thanks,
this
Todd.
too. He helped you with the design as well, connecting some of the
He's
dots.
Only 2
responsible
people
for
showed
the
under,
green of
okay.
hole 13.
Oh well, thank you, Todd, because that's the one that's going to have all the pictures took.
Yep.
So yeah, we showed the scores just a second ago. You can see, and I want to point out that this is a very tangible, visible piece of evidence showcasing the difference between playing it blind and having a look at it beforehand. Justin Bonnell, for those of you guys that are not aware or familiar with Justin, he's recently been out to some of our events. He won MPO at the Bag Tag at Cane Ridge. Some people may not recognize his name. He was I don't know how many years ago. He was a pretty significant force on the tour. He won 1 or 2 national tour events.
Yep. He won the Bowling Green National Tour. I think that was 2008.
Yeah. So so Justin is no stranger, even though if he's a stranger to you. Point out he's a really nice guy. And I'm happy to have met him and have him a part of our family. You see here on the scores, he won again with a 9 down. Directly below him, you see our friend DJ Wicks. And you guys know, or those of you that know DJ know, he's pretty good at golf.
I mean, he's almost.
Yeah,
I
he's
believe he's 1,000
if
rated.
not 1,000 rated golfer.
Yeah.
He's sponsored by Music City Nashville Disc Golf
And
Club
Millennium.
and also
Millennium
Millennium Flight Co. Great golfer, definitely one of number 2, number 3 around Nashville, right behind Logan and no one else.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from Justin and his play on Saturday by pointing this out, but Justin did get a chance to walk the course with Shawn on Friday night.
Nice.
As we were putting out the baskets and the signage. So, and I know just from my own personal experience that with playing the course, the optical illusions there, the second time I played hole 2, much better.
Yeah,
Much better.
I learned that lesson. You don't want to take the obvious route and go up the hill farther. The scary shot that puts you down near the creek, that's
better.
That's the optimal kind of shot, because then you've got a straight tunnel right at the basket. You know what I mean? If you can just chuck your putter up there with a nice toss, you're gonna have the best shot there.
I know that I was sick, and I know that I had obligations, but something obviously changed. So what happened on hole 13 now? What was the green? You said that.
Oh, it's in a tree, a wooded, framed in area by trees, and Shawn has thinned it all out, and it just looks like a picture you'd see from a national tour event.
It's great. I got a picture of it. We'll have to bring it up. Maybe I can get it to you.
I think I might have one.
There's a couple of pictures that, like, I think
I want to thank you for
saying
saying that I played the course blind today. That actually helped my confidence a little bit, seeing my score. Shout out to the that really, really hot 57, Justin. Way to go.
That's pretty solid. What did you say course par was again?
It was 66.
66 on 19 holes.
Okay.
So I'm
19?
actually feeling a lot better now. Thanks, guys. Oh, I get the facts. Yeah, I can. Oh,
We ran
stand up a
19
little
holes?
taller. So.
Yeah, hole 5 we haven't connected yet, so
you just ran
it's
those two.
5 and 5A. Yep.
Okay.
The goal is to get that to be a par 4.
Yeah.
There's about a 125 foot section we haven't connected yet.
Okay. That makes sense.
So
It's thick over there, so you can understand why.
while I'm working on getting this image of 13 up to show everybody, here's a look at the whole separation, the scoring stats and everything that Todd prepared for us. This goes by hole, and you can see there's our 5A, our addition to the course. So
Wow.
you can see how the scores kind of fell on this.
Just barely under.
Yeah. So
That's
Shawn, what are your thoughts on the stats here? Because I mean, I know, like, is this pretty accurate to how you figured it would play and how you kind of had in mind for it?
Some of it is surprisingly accurate. Some of it's a little different. Surprising, such as hole 10.
pull those back up, yeah.
Hole 10, 225 feet. You stand 5 feet to the left of the tee, and you're just looking straight up at the pin. It's just right there, right in front of you. Kind of a nice big gap, nice wide fairway. There's no trees in the fairway. And I don't remember the exact stats, but I want to say there might have been 2 birdies all day.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah, what is hole 10 coming in at? What percentage?
Looks like
Which hole are we talking
hole
about?
10.
Hole 10.
What does that say? 3.48?
hole 10 is 3.48.
Yeah, and that's a 225 foot hole.
You see that? Oh
Wow.
yeah. You see hole 8? Is that the one I got the bad score on?
Yes.
That's my 9 right there. You see that? You see it? The green, there's an 8.
Greater than 8.
Greater than 8. You see that 9 right there? That 9 right there is mine, okay? I own it.
What?
Wow, thanks for these stats. Whose idea was this? I guess I should have thought about this. I'm on a podcast, and they're going to talk about the actual round.
What was
I gotta
the
play
ratings
better
that
next
came
time.
out of these?
I'm sorry?
What do the ratings come out to be?
I hadn't looked at that. If somebody wants to pull it up on the website, we can talk about it. I was going to pull up a picture here.
Where is it at? Music City?
You have to go through the leagues. I think.
PDGA. Look up the
go
week
through leagues.
round 6 of the sanctioned Saturday Shuffle.
I got you.
On another topic, did anybody see Brodie's Scooby putt?
I watched some of the video.
What is a Scooby? You've been around, but I don't know exactly what a Scooby is. Do you know?
It's kind of a upside down 2-finger, kind of over your head.
Pop it kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good choice if you want to kind of run at something, but it's going to land upside down if you miss. So no chance of like getting up on edge and rolling around, and it was pretty windy. So throwing it upside down, it's also not going to get affected by the wind. So kind of a smart play.
Yeah.
There's a picture of hole 13 for you, Jay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yep.
Yep.
Really
off
pretty.
the tee, there's a tree that's impeding your drive. But definitely makes you
low ceiling.
Yeah, it's low ceiling. It definitely makes you focus. I love the fact that there's an uphill.
beautiful.
It's like uphill, downhill, uphill. It's like a what did you say earlier? It was like an effect,
Like an optical illusion.
like optical illusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Work optical
Optical
illusion.
illuser.
And that's kind of the same thing back to your
Sure.
awesome hole 9.
Thank you. Hold on.
You're awesome.
From the,
Optimal hole 9. Yes.
Very, very optimal.
if Todd's out there listening, he'll probably correct me because we measured with the rangefinder that his can do elevation, and from the tee to that fence line, which is from that the FPOT, it's about 390-ish. And I want to say there was 10 to 12 feet of elevation there.
Okay.
But when you're standing on that tee, it looks dead flat.
It looks dead flat.
Yeah.
Sure.
That is, wow.
I know the one thing that was interesting was how many discs went in the water on hole 18 and hole
Really?
20. Yeah, or OBs at least, because the OB was a lot closer to the left side on one than I was thinking it was in my head. Let's see if I can pull these back up.
One barely played under par.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of hole 1.
yeah.
It's the what you refer to it as, like the hole 17 at USDGC.
It's a combination of
Oh, that's
hole.
what I was looking. That's what I've been looking for. I was trying to figure
Yeah,
out what it
it's a
reminded me of.
combination of old hole 1 at USDGC and 17
Yeah.
combined.
Again, every hole reminds you of an iconic hole that you've seen on every professional round. It's amazing. It's a good feeling that you're playing a course that makes you feel like, oh man, I must be on Jomez because I can't be at this course. There's no way that this course.
We
is
kept
that
talking about hole 1. I heard it over and over, and I think we talked about it a
Yeah.
bunch, that you step up to that tee and it's like, oh look, it's 219 or whatever and slightly downhill, and you got to hit about a
slightly.
6-7 foot gap off the tee. You're like, no big deal. Practice rounds, you'll probably throw 100 of 100 through that gap. And then the second, with the 8:30 tee time, here is Jay Skinner, and that disc starts shaking in your hand, and that gap closes up.
Music kicks
you got OB left, and
So things like, what is technique? How do I do this again?
Yeah,
I had both.
Going, and I know what those first hole nerves are. They usually last about 17 holes for me.
my first shot off of one's tee pad, first tree, boom. I think I went left side, but then I picked it up and threw again, right down the gut. Stopped it right at the ground.
Was it?
Used the ground
I want to
behind
see,
the basket
is
as
it
a back
hole
shot.
6 that we talked about with the real tight gap off the tee pad?
195 feet.
What was the statistic on that? The hole 6?
I think it played like a 3.36,
So not under.
which it played.
Let's see, hole 6.
I thought that would have played higher than hole 10.
Yeah, 3.5
Wow.
or ish.
Hole 10 is the one that shocked me.
Hole
Because
10,
there's literally nothing in the way. It's just
It's just
it's a 200 foot, 225 foot
Uphill?
dead flat, slight turnover.
Is that the one with the little trees? Looks like a double mando.
No, it's got the big mature tree on the right with the branch that swings down.
That's right.
Wow. 17 played over. Where is the one we talked about when we first did it? The big. You throw, you lay up, but then you S back down into the little goalie. Is that 16?
That's 16. Yep. And from the FPO tee that we played, you can actually see the pin off of the tee. And
Yeah,
I
you
think
start in one fairway, but end in another.
yeah,
It's like a big S.
Yep, 368, I think.
Yeah, that one. And it played at 16. Oh, it played over too.
Yep.
Wow. 16 is a wonderful golf hole. Marcus, what did you think about 16? Because you have to play position there. If it's the one I'm thinking of.
At that point, I had figured my bearings. I did okay. I didn't get a 9. If you can see up there, I did not get a 9.
Yeah, I see those.
The stats are true.
Yep.
I can't wait to get out there and throw some disc on it.
Yeah, it was as someone that's put in a ton of work in my arms, and
Yeah.
they show the all the work. It was it was really cool and exciting to see all the people out there playing
throwing it all?
and having fun. Yeah, I've actually played a couple of rounds out there.
Oh, all right.
So
What's
played
your
it Friday,
best round?
I had no clue. I haven't kept score for
Well,
a
18,
round
I
since
went up the middle.
2009.
And he comes
Yeah,
up and like throws a big hyzer over the right side, making me look bad. Yeah.
Oh man,
I parked it, but still, his shot looked a lot better than mine. I was really like, wow, how
I
come I'm
played
not
too
doing
much
that?
golf with him. Had too many holes where I got shut up. But the one that sticks out in my mind is hole 14 at Buckner and Dixon. The first time we played it from the longs, and he throws a roller at the very first water hole.
Oh,
where it's like on
down
the side.
to the right.
Yeah, he throws a backhand roller, and I was like, well. Of course, in my repertoire that doesn't exist, but
Will, you okay
but
with
it
that cough over there?
was just blown away. Yep, get those out. I need a timeout and a pause. I need a timeout and a pause, Will, for a break.
Is it time for our break?
Take a quick little
Yeah, I think it's
bathroom
a
break.
break.
I
Yeah.
got one more thing I want to talk about before we wrap up the episode. But
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. Let me just throw up the little loading.
After a
screen
quick
here.
word from our sponsor,
After a quick word from these sponsors.
we'll be right back.
All right, and we are back from our little break. How'd you like those commercial messages? Shawn kind of touched on it just for a second, but I do want to reiterate. Thank you so much to everybody that came out to Mill Ridge and played the event and helped provide us with some statistical data as we develop the course further. It's an essential part of the process to have you guys out there getting your feet out on the ground there. So thank you. And thank you again to everybody that has helped us cut in all this these fairways in the wooded areas and helped us work on the course. I've taken to calling them the Mill Ridge Marauders.
That's right. I like that.
And specifically, there's a bunch of people that have helped, so I'm not going to try to go through the list and forget people again. But I do want to say big thank you to Brandon Rycroft and Mitch Baker. Excuse me. Who helped us get the baskets out on the course and put out the signage.
Get it out, buddy. Get it
Got some
out.
kind of a frog in my throat there. All right. So, yes, who helped us get everything out on Friday. Would not have been able to pull this off without you guys. It was huge. And Brandon and Mitch are actually out there right now trying to get everything squared away with the baskets. Thank you guys big time. And thank you to Dr. Hoy, who has in a coronavirus update for us. Let's see if we can get Dr. Hoy's pretty face up on the screen here. So I was speaking with Dr. Hoy. We were toying with the idea. He's at the hospital working the Kung Flu shift. And I toyed with the idea of having a Skype call with him, but we had gotten started before I got confirmation from him, and I didn't want to incite a technical difficulty by calling an audible at the last minute. But from Dr. Hoy on the coronavirus, the main thing is to share with everybody where to get accurate info. So that's cdc.gov or the state public health website at tn.gov. You don't need to get testing if the illness is mild. Only go to the emergency room if you need life-saving medical treatment. If any questions, Dr. Hoy would be happy to answer. You can shoot him a message on Facebook, Zachary Hoy, or you can give him a phone call or a text message at 714-398-7809. Say that real fast so if you need it, you can use it. He was kind enough to say people can text him. So, yes, that's our update from our on-staff medical expert. And that will be taken into consideration going forward. And that's the last I'm going to talk about the Kung Flu for this episode. Yep. Because the next thing that I want to talk about is the other big news from the weekend. Obviously, we know we were in the middle of the second Disc Golf Pro Tour event when the suspension was announced. And the first two National Tour events are now suspended. So the big news from Waco ended up being Brodie Smith.
Yeah.
And actually, not just Waco. This has been ongoing and for a while now, but a lot of chatter on Brodie Smith over the last month or so. Is he good for the sport? Is he not good for the sport? What are his intentions? People are having a heated debate everywhere you look on Facebook and disc golf circles. And he was placed on a feature card with Cale LaVisca, Paul Macbeth, and Who else?
Kayla Visca, Paul and
Beth.
Was it Drew Gibson?
Drew
Gibson.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another former guest of the podcast. So, Shawn, I'm particularly interested to get your thoughts on, because it seemed like the two places that I kept seeing everybody go were one saying he doesn't deserve to be on the feature card, and that there are a bunch of other players that deserved it over him, and that he's trying to use disc golf to springboard his brand and his platform. And then there's people arguing that, saying, how is he using disc golf when he's got more followers than every disc golfer combined on the internet, and all this stuff. And another thing that I recently found out was because he decided, I guess they took some footage of, they released a video with him and Paul Macbeth doing commentary. And it was like, I remember there were some videos from Brodie, like encouraging everybody to solicit the Pro Tour to allow them to do some video coverage outside of what was agreed upon in the media policy. And that sparked even more debate, because the media providers that were already booked for the event paid in. And I don't know if Brodie did or not. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about the old Brodie Smith question?
I had not heard about the media stuff, so I don't really know a whole lot
Very
about
recent that I saw that.
I saw that some of Jamie Thomas's comments were taken not out of context, but they were made a while ago, and they were made like they were put out like they were in light of making those comments recently. And from what I understand, they were made a while ago when he made the trick shot videos with Simon and Paul. But that comment got brought back up. I think personally that you have to go with the outlook of any media is good media, and he does have a massive following. He's a great trick shot guy, did the ultimate. So his following, if they don't know about disc golf, maybe they know a little bit more about disc golf. And from what I understand and what I've seen, I know that Paul and him work through Foundation Disc Golf a little bit, and then also through Brodie's and then Hannah's, I guess, YouTube accounts. Those guys, I mean, he's been out practicing. He's been out putting in work to get better and do the things. I mean, and when you can throw a ultimate disc the way he does, disc golf does probably translate, but there's definitely some differences for sure, and some learning things, and just the sport of golf is different. But he doesn't seem to be making fun of it or just using it to seem to better his brand. He seems to be using it to maybe tackle another challenge in his career. I mean, how many trick shots can you do? How many? I mean, like you said, he doesn't do ultimate so much anymore. Like, he's more of the YouTube, but like
He did traditional golf.
Sure,
He made that.
sure.
He tried to make that transition.
So I mean, disc golf for him, sure, it definitely. I'm not going to say that it doesn't help his brand, but at the same time, I think it helps us on the back end. But I also don't think he's making a joke of it either. I think he's actually trying to work at it to do good, or at least prove himself to be like, hey, I can do this.
I think that's what we're all hoping, is that he's like being honest and true about his wanting to have love for the sport that we love so much, and we hope that his following grows our sport. I mean, if we had a bigger name come to our sport, like a somebody from my past, like let's say John Smoltz, like a baseball player, all of a sudden wants to play disc golf and bring some of his followers there, will we be mad then? Is it because of he was a trick shot from a different type of disc? From discs to frisbees. Essentially is what he's throwing, like frisbee style frisbees. Sure. And moving to disc golf where we're throwing discs. That's not the same at all. Yeah. And we should be happy as like to some extent.
Well, I feel like he's getting a little bit more heat because he's putting more effort into it than some other people who are big names. Like, there's a lot of big names who play. I mean, the late Paul Walker played disc golf. That was out there.
Okay.
I forget his name. The chef that's on the food.
Andrew Zimmern.
Yeah, apparently disc golf, also, right? Like disc golf is something that saved his life at one point in time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have those guys. Then we have like the
Casey DeSmith, Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, we have an MMA fighter who plays. We've got the guy from Game of Thrones.
Ben Askren is retired from the UFC.
We got the guy from Game of Thrones who plays. I mean, I guarantee you there's a lot more celebrities and big name people out there who play this sport who just people don't know about it, but nobody jumps on them. They all are like, oh, that's awesome. Let's share this. Like, this guy plays disc golf. Brodie's getting a lot of heat because not only he's tried disc golf, now he's trying to compete with disc golf, and he's partnered up with the best disc golfer in the world, with the company that's paying out a lot of disc golfers right now. So it looks as if it's just a big branding scheme. And in the beginning, until he really said he's going to play tournaments, that's kind of what I thought. Was like, okay, here's Brodie's just coming in. It's going to be a big, popularity stunt. But then now that he's playing and he's working at it and he's putting out videos showing that he's working at it, I mean, the guy shot a couple thousand rated rounds in some smaller tournaments. I mean, like, he's not shabby. I don't think he's not taking it seriously. So,
well, I mean, if
you can't jump on, I was going to say, you can't hate on him, but then endorse the other guys who are big names who play the sport, who are like, hey, yeah, I play the sport, but they're not actively out there promoting it. You can say that he's actively out there promoting it regardless of his intentions.
Yeah, I think all of the concerns, there's probably truth to every bit of it.
Sure.
As far as like what Will was talking about with the feature card, does he deserve to be on the feature card? What is the feature card?
Yeah.
The purpose of the feature card is to promote the sport through media. We have a policy in the competition manual that says you can have a feature card if it's going to be filmed. You go to USDGC and they put the feature card, they put the previous year's winner, they put the AM World Champion on there. So there's no rhyme or reason to what the feature card needs to be. The purpose of it is
to draw views.
I mean,
they had Climo on it. They had Page on it at the USDGC.
And I think so. There's some animosity from players in that this guy just steps in out of nowhere. Like Will said, does he deserve to be there? As far as being a top player, and there's other players, no, he doesn't. But again, what are we defining the feature card as? And I think there's the aspect of it. Yes, he's a YouTube star. He did Ultimate. He did traditional golf. He's done all his trick shots. But every one of those that he's done, he's jumped in 1,000%.
Yeah.
He's tried to be the best Ultimate player. He tried to be the best trick shotter. He tried to be the best traditional ball golfer he can be, and now he's doing the disc golf. He truly wants to be the best disc golfer he can be. And there's probably truth to, I make a living on YouTube. I need to put these videos out. So there's both sides of it, that I need to keep making a living, but at the same time, I want to show that I can be one of the best disc golfers in the world. And, it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
Well, I didn't look at how he finished. I think he was 78 or something at Waco.
Averaged over 970.
So,
he's not doing anything different than any other pro golfer or disc golfer that's out there that's got a media presence. He's not doing anything different. I mean, look at Eagle. He's got a video blog that's all about the life of Eagle outside of just the tour.
Yep.
He's doing that. Eagle's just not as big of a name as far as YouTube is, Brodie.
I had to make the distinction.
They're all doing it.
One of the threads on Facebook, because it seemed like people were arguing the case about his deserving to be there or not based on, it was almost like they were assuming that he was on the lead card. Like they were blurring the line between lead and feature card. And I had to say, first round of a tournament, there is no lead card because there's no, score base, there's no scores to base it on.
Yeah.
So, in terms of, like you said, media, like, the Disc Golf Network is trying to generate subscriptions. That's why it's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And the best move for them is to add some sort of content to that paid subscription that is what the people want to see, regardless of what's happening or what's going on. You know what I mean? Whether or not Brodie deserves to be playing these big events and deserves to be getting all this recognition is kind of notwithstanding, because if you're trying to get people watching, then you show who people want to watch.
And is there anybody in this room, anybody listening, that wasn't curious?
Right. Sure.
Everybody
that was arguing it on Facebook, it's like, we're some of us are stoked, some of us are pissed, but all of us want to see what's going to happen. All of us are probably going to watch. So
those are the ones watching somebody's live feed of their TV of the Disc Golf Network, which, by the way, I saw on Facebook and it promptly got shut down. So they're definitely watching that as far as Disc Golf Network goes.
Yeah, and I mean, rightfully so. And that's why I think there's a
absolutely.
legitimate concern with people, especially depending on how the people involved with the other media outfits that were attached to the event, depending on how they feel, it's a very legitimate concern to say, we paid to be able to put out these videos. What, did he? And things like that. But, I mean, the way I think it broke down was the tournament staff got a pick for the featured card, the event sponsor got a pick, and the previous winner, previous year's winner was guaranteed a slot, and then Disc Golf Network got to choose somebody, and they chose Brodie, which is the best possible move.
Yeah, I
if
probably
you're
would
in
have done
their
the same
position.
thing.
Excuse me. I have like 10 followers. Why would you want me on a feature card?
Right.
For your
Hello.
hair.
Yeah, for the hair.
Just for the hair.
Yeah, for the hair.
So in that, with that, under that light, yeah, absolutely, he deserves to be there more than anybody else. Like, yes, does maybe a Chris Clemens or any of these other players that have been putting in work, Eric Oakley, that are really popular and have a big following within the disc golf world. Yeah, I mean, they are great golfers. They have great stories. People want to see what's going on with them. But if you're comparing the desire of the general audience that you're targeting to watch them, or the interest in them, or versus the interest in Brodie, I mean, it's boundary crossing with Brodie Smith. Like, you put out content with him in this kind of an atmosphere, and not just disc golfers are going to be interested in watching it. Oh. And I don't know what the exact accurate statistic was, but prior to Waco, Disc Golf Network only had like roughly around 1,000 subscribers, and then when Brodie was announced on the feature card, it went over 6,000.
I believe that.
So
Right.
Think about it like this:
Instant
what if you
result.
took, for namesake, just to drop somebody, Tom Cruise, just because. Say he decided he was going to go out, or Bubba Watson.
Well, I mean,
he
Tony
just-
Romo went from football to golf.
Yeah. Okay. Say you grab that guy and he's like, I'm going to play professional disc golf now. I'm going to give it a try, see what happens. You don't want to watch him play?
Right.
I don't care if he's an 800 rated golfer. I want to watch him play golf.
right.
You know what I mean? Sure. One event, if he's terrible, nobody's going to want to watch him play again.
Yeah.
But Brodie's not terrible. He didn't do bad. I'd watch
No.
him play on a feature card again. So would that person get as much hate, like if it was a bigger name, an even bigger name, like a Tony Romo, say, you know what I mean? I don't think he'd even get that much hate, because everybody's going to want to watch him play golf or disc golf. Everybody would, just because it's something different and new that he's doing. Brodie gets hate because he's from a roughly similar demographic.
And I think there's a kind of a small comparison, but back when Holly Finley jumped on the scene, she came from that modeling world,
Right.
and she was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
She had hundreds of thousands of followers on the social webs, and came in disc golf, and people are like, who is this model? Where is she coming from? Why does she think she can come in here and do this and that?
Sure,
And
yeah.
she's proved herself. She's one of the highest rated players, and she's out there putting in the work. And
She's a great disc golfer.
and it's totally normalized and a non-issue. So it'd be great to see Brodie go that way as well.
I mean, there's a lot of disc golfers out there that people know and who capitalize on that. Like, I'm not going to name names or name people, but how many people know certain female disc golfers who are sponsored by Nova or by whoever, and they know them because of their Instagram feed? Not because they did well in tournaments, but because, let's just face it, they got a pretty face, and they're sponsored by a company. And people,
Once again,
they've got
the statements made on the MCDG podcast do not necessarily reflect the Music
reflect.
City disc golf.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's the, it's like the kettle calling the pot black. I mean, or whatever that saying, however that saying goes, whatever.
Pause that, reverse it. Yeah.
Yeah, flip that,
Flip
and
that,
reverse
reverse
it.
it, yeah.
I'm a trifle deaf in one ear. Speak a little louder next time. But it's the same thing. It's just he's getting hate because he's a dude, and there's females who do it all the time. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing by any means. It's the same thing. Everybody does it because who doesn't want to make money doing very little?
Something new
And
to
if
the
you can
sport.
put your face,
Yeah.
you can put your face out there for doing a skill that you have, and get famous for it and possibly make money from that. Who wouldn't do it? It's the people who are like, oh well, those guys are making a lot of money. I can't do that. Like, those are the guys who are sitting behind the computer going, let's start a riot against him because he's doing something that I want to do, but don't have either the motivation or the want or the drive or the can to do it.
An interesting thing I think that nobody's really
Sorry,
taking
that's
into.
my opinion.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're talking about it. But because there's all kinds of different points of view on it, and a lot of them, and just like with this whole suspension of the tour stuff, everybody's got a perspective, and it's all valid. But it's you got to take everything else into consideration while you're discussing it. I think one thing that's interesting to point out is like if you're talking about who's benefiting more from his presence on a featured card or something like that, whether it's him or us, like if he's capitalizing on disc golf to further his brand, or is disc golf capitalizing on his brand to further our audience, I think that the answer to that question is pretty clear. I think that we definitely have way more to gain from Brodie being in the game than Brodie has to gain by being a disc golfer now, especially if you think about the fact that some people say that within the ultimate world, he's not exactly everybody's favorite guy now. I mean, like, he's kind of a pariah or blacklisted from the ultimate world, and some people say that's why he tried the disc golf or the traditional golf thing. And then I saw somebody make the comment that he made it so far, like basically as far as a talented natural athlete could with the proper instruction in a short amount of time. And then now he's given that up and he's doing disc golf. I mean, regardless of what his athletic, ambitions are for the future, like, we are definitely coming out on the better end of this bargain with Brodie, sure. I think. And it's, I don't know. I think that people, like, I'm a fan of Brodie. I like watching him. I think he's entertaining. He seems like a positive, nice guy. Sure. And when you see stuff like the video of him getting that crazy trick shot Scooby birdie on that one, or I don't know if it was a birdie, but that throw in from outside the circle. Yeah, outside. And his reaction and everything, what is not fun about that? Does that not make you smile watching it? That's the spirit of this game.
I thought it was great.
Encapsulated right there.
And it pumped him up.
And you think about, like, what recently around the USDGC and even before, the Arby's ad campaigns that are featuring disc golf. Well, if you want to talk about somebody that's capitalizing on disc golf and taking influence without giving anything back to the game, where's the outrage about the Arby's ad campaign?
Yeah.
Where's the people demanding a name and a doxing and a cancellation of the person that initiated that ad campaign?
I don't know for a fact. They actually sold disc, like custom Arby's disc, because of those commercials. Jeremy Laser, we tend to mention him a lot on the podcast, but he actually tried to go and order those discs, and they sent him an email saying that we'll let you know when the next batch comes in. Yep. And they apparently bought disc with the Arby's stuff on it. Apparently it had like a Arby's sauce, like a swirl.
No way.
Yeah. I saw it. Made of Arby's sauce. And they were selling those discs.
And to take it back to kind of what Will was saying about the overall part of the sport, from the very, very beginnings, this sport has always been open, welcoming to anybody and everybody, and that's part of the appeal.
Sure.
And, Brodie, the sport's here. We let anybody come in. He is dressing professional. He's playing professional. He's, doing what he needs to do, and that's what the whole sport's about.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, there they are, right there. I don't know if you can pull it.
Yeah, I can
show them.
Put that up to the camera. Probably show it.
Yeah.
Here's the Arby's disc in question.
Yeah.
So, but, well, it's an interesting place that we're in, and
it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds, especially this year. This year's going to, like I said, if there was a reset button and we could scratch everything and redo it without the same outcome, I think I'd do it.
I want to find everybody that proliferated that 2020 vision stuff at New Year's, and I want them to admit on camera that they were wrong. Just 'cause, I mean, in Nashville, we had, tornado, coronavirus. Now disc golf is like all crazy, and it's like, man, 2020 sucks.
Guys, we should mention, if like, obviously that people still need donations and different things around the community here in Nashville. If you are looking for an outlet to bring those things, please bring them to us. We can get them to the right spots. I know that we had emails. Was it Hands On Nashville or something emailed us about getting with them.
Hands on Nashville's one
But
of their companies.
I know that we have a spot we can take any donations if you want to bring those to us. And
As
thank you
we
for
talked about on
everybody
the podcast,
who did donate.
Yeah, we talked about that on the podcast. If you've got donations of items or supplies, you want to get those to the Community Resource Center, and they're only accepting new unused items. And if you're looking to donate money, you want to go to the Community Fund of Middle Tennessee, I think is what it's called. We can definitely handle donations and get them funneled to the appropriate spot as well. And Hands on Nashville, if you want to donate your time, if you would like to contribute.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of neighborhoods, as it was mentioned in the news, like North Nashville did not get a lot of attention for the destruction that they suffered. So there's definitely opportunities to make yourself useful and helpful.
And if you're local, there's always a huge push for everybody initially. They had 40,000, boots on the ground, and they were turning volunteers away. But this is months, if not years, of rebuilding and cleanup. I mean, you drive by the stuff today, and there's still just piles and piles of stuff. And so,
a lot of these folks work in the service industry, and now their income is crippled by the coronavirus.
So they're still going to need tons of volunteers to help with this over the next few months.
Speaking of, I saw that you and Sarah had been out volunteering. Are y'all working through a certain thing, or y'all just showing up at different work days through Facebook? What are y'all doing?
No, she had signed up for a couple different programs, and I think the hands-on that we had mentioned was one of them, and she'd signed up for a couple others, but initially she'd gotten turned away from some of those.
Wow.
Because there was too many volunteers. But
which is a good problem to have.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And
that community.
It's a little up in the air, like we've been saying all podcast with this virus stuff, and they're kind of trying to regroup and figure things out, and come up with a plan how to get people out there and still be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's needed, and there are definitely still places to help. So that's why it's important to go to the correct place to get accurate information. So Hands on Nashville if you want to donate your time. The Community Fund of Middle Tennessee if you would like to donate money, and donations of supplies can go to the Community Resource Center.
Yeah, and like Shawn said, this is definitely not a instant gratification project. This is going to take years, months, years to rebuild. Especially, I'm speaking for a gentleman that I'm very close friends with at work, that he owned a historical home downtown and off of Shelby, off 11th Avenue, and a lot of those areas that were hit were historical, and so rebuilding may not even be an option. So Nashville lost a lot of treasures in this, and so it's going to be a long process of rebuilding. So keep those donations coming, keep that volunteer work going. It's not going to be a quick fix.
Yeah, and the hits just keep on coming. I guess
it's been a rough March, to say the least.
It has.
Nice little razz off the first tee.
Yeah, a little bit of razz for sure.
Well, anybody got anything else they would like to put out on the airwaves before we wrap this thing up?
So, I want to say one more thing because it's all been going down, the tornadoes, the viruses and stuff, because of everything. If you can, and I know that a lot of local places and stuff like that have set up things, go out to eat if you can afford to do that in a smaller environment.
If you can find a restaurant that's
doing it to help support that industry, and if not, do the Uber Eats. If you obviously cook for your family. I don't recommend at all going out to eat all the time, but to help support some of those guys, because I know that there's a lot of people who are not considered employees of certain companies. They're considered subcontractors, and those guys are taking massive hits, especially when it's their sole income at this time right now. So just if you have a chance and you have the means, try to help support those guys too, because those guys are some of the ones who don't have the insurance or they have the means of supporting themselves without that work.
Yeah, definitely patronize local businesses as much as you can.
Sure.
Take every opportunity you can. I know everybody's being just crushed by this. Little Harpeth Brewing, Devin Pena, their bar staff, their taproom staff depends on the concerts that they have, and the concerts are all canceled. They can't have anybody at the taproom now. He was delivering to bars, but now bars are being closed down.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, guys. So do what you can, where you can.
Yep. But in other news, we love you guys, and happier news, we love you, and we hope to be able to continue playing disc golf whenever and however we can. Yeah. We got to ride this thing out.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I want you and Marcus to talk about y'all's experience over at Trace Creek today.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Just because it's been a topic of local conversation and a bit of a firestorm because all of a sudden, and I'm going to lay the backdrop here because I'm a West Side guy with Will here, and I've been
West Side guy.
The West Side of Bellevue, Marcus too. We are on the West Side of Nashville as
20
we
years.
speak. But almost the exact same, probably 17. So you got me beat a little bit. But on the West Side of Nashville, we fought 6, 7, 10 years ago, somewhere around there, for a spot of land at Percy Warner Park that we did not get. We lost out to mountain bikers, which, in my personal opinion, I've mountain biked there. I think it's the best use of the land to have a mountain bike course. There's tons of room.
Oh my goodness!
Politics, but nonetheless, overnight somehow, at least it seems, a course on the west side popped up in an area, and now it's a 9-hole course, single tee pads, very, very beginner-friendly course, but also a very cool course if you are an experienced player, and it's a great practice course if you are looking for a place to practice. Now, it is in a neighborhood that will eventually become a community-gated neighborhood with the grocery stores and everything inside that neighborhood. So now, whether or not the disc golf part will be accessible to the public forever, we don't know. But as of now, you are allowed to go and play. So
I'll send you some pictures.
Let's. I want to hear these two guys. I've played it. Shawn, have you got a chance to play it?
No.
Okay, it's over off the Highway 100, kind of by Loveless Cafe, off of Pascal. I think it's Pascal. I say Pascal. I say Pasquale. You say Pasquale. Sabotage. You know.
So way over there.
It's over there, but I'm telling you, when you first heard about it, I won't lie because I'm a West Side guy. I'm like, it kind of rubbed me wrong. Like, all of a sudden, now there's a course on the west side, and I have no idea who put it in, where it came from, how it got to be there, but it has, is it T2 or T3 baskets, which are fine by me.
I think T2s.
Like, professionally done, turf tee pads with signage. It's nice. Did you notice on the signs, though, and, like, the overview, so it's got the overview, Shawn, of the signs. But instead of having, like an overview look of a tree, it literally just has a circle and has the word tree written in.
Perfect.
So it's very literal T signs. The whole one plays behind a trunk, and they have a square drawn in front of the basket, and it says trunk in front of it. And you can literally see the basket from the tee pad, and you're like, got it.
And was this put in by the community, the city?
Yeah, somebody that's involved with the development.
Yeah, involved in the development, either plays or knows or something. It's got Prodigy T3 or T2s out there, so good baskets. Great stuff. There you go.
There's me and Marcus. T1.
I've rambled on enough about it.
Yes, I played disc golf with a scarf on.
Sweet scarf, Marcus, by the way.
Mr. Tennessee Titans.
It wasn't even that cold either. You totally did that for stylistic purposes
today.
I style and profile. Great course. Super happy that it's finally a course in West Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely.
9 holes, maybe 3 or 4 holes over 400 feet. Starting out the gate, you got a 360-foot shot. Just like Jay said, you're right behind a tree that's slowly dying. It's
a trunk. It's like a 50-foot, well, not 50-foot, 25-foot trunk. That's no branches, just a trunk.
Anyone heads out there within the next 2 days, I did lose a turn off to the right on hole 1.
Oh, Marcus,
good thing we did Tennessee too,
shot.
because my next shot was much better.
We totally forgot to go back for that after the round too.
You know what?
It happens.
It may be someone's gift.
Hey, or, I mean, it's one of the pros. It's just right down the road.
I'm going to look tomorrow.
I'll go back and get it tomorrow. Great course. 9 holes of magic. Right set near the Loveless Cafe. Right down Pascal, however you pronounce it. Pasquale? I love the course. Short and sweet. Definitely has a little bit of elevation. Good shots, long shots, technical shots. Will definitely prove that the Maverick is an amazing disc because he parked a 375-foot hole with a long skating
flex
turnover.
right through the gap.
Wait.
I've got the video. You guys are going to see the video next week. Okay, I won't forget.
Did he make the putt?
We're going to get that loaded up. A great course in West Nashville. We've been needing a course in West Nashville for a long time. I've been traveling to Kentucky to South Nashville, so finally you guys can come out to West Nashville and challenge me because I don't want to come and challenge you guys anymore. Prodigy baskets.
Challenge accepted. Good stuff.
bright yellow in color. The course was definitely new. You can definitely tell it needs to be walked over 1,000 more times. The neighborhood was immaculate. Really hard to find.
Real nice.
Really nice neighborhood. And, you know, parking is really hard to find, but yeah, definitely get out to Trace Creek.
Anybody who's going out there, kind of give them the info of how that works, because you literally park on the road. Like, there's nowhere to park, so you're parking on the road and you're walking between houses.
We pulled off onto Merriweather, and
So
it's the street right there, and it has like carved out spaces for the residents parking. So we pulled up a little further where there was less cars parked, and we just stopped there. It was about a 45-minute round, so I don't think anybody even noticed we were there. But I would say my overall impressions, I mean, like, there's a couple holes out there that make you chuckle. There's a couple holes out there. There's like 150 foot par 3 that's pretty much straight ahead. It's some stuff next to it, some tree limb action and stuff, but it's kind of like you look at it and you're like,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I went from 450
Shall I
to
jump,
150.
bud?
Yeah.
If you don't hit metal, I'm not saying good shot.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But for while we have it, it's, you know, it's great to have. If you're
Sure.
in Bellevue, West Nashville, and you want to not drive all the way across town to play golf, or at least get some practice in, you can go out there and work in new discs, practice shots. It's got a little bit of everything, like Marcus said.
Yeah, it really does.
You can practice different kinds of shaping and all of that. I would say overall,
I give it a 4.
overall impressions can be summed up pretty much by that picture, I would say. Like,
Yeah, that's a nice picture.
that was right after hole 9.
Finishing strong, last hole, hole 9.
Yeah.
490 feet straight ahead. If you can see in the background, that's where we teed from, way off to the left.
Yeah.
Clean, very nice, open course.
Yeah.
It's if they maintain it, they do a good job. I don't know if that's going to continue or not. I know that
It kind of gives you that Crockett Park feel.
it does a little bit.
Yeah. Whenever I played that course, I definitely looked at the homes to the right and left of me thinking, I feel like I'm at Crockett Park. And Crockett Park's really nice. So shout out to West Nashville finally having our own
Please,
course.
if you go, be on your best behavior, because you are literally
And then
in
you can go to the Loveless Cafe right
nice
afterwards
neighborhood.
and get you some biscuits.
Yeah, could not be next to a better restaurant.
And shout out to Russell Hammond, who is also, he's running things over at the Loveless nowadays. So
Him and Derek Rowland.
and he's got an ace on that course. I believe he got hole 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Hole 2 is about 200 feet. Slight hyzer, trees in the way. We both parked our drives and made the putt. So
Oh, that's awesome. Which hole is it that is the big, you throw big hyzer straight out? It's almost straight out to the left, but if you don't finish left enough, you don't have an angle back to the basket coming back in to the right. It's a big S.
that was hole 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. That's what I was thinking.
You definitely want to take a big hyzer, just let it come off to the left. Leaves you with a nice little upshot. There's not going to be a 2 there for a long time unless you have a major flick. I'm talking boss and hyzer, perfect flick.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about that course is you have those chuckable holes where like you're just sitting there laughing like this is a 120-foot hole. Why would you put this here? But then you have that hole, and then there's another one that's super technical, but it's wide open. It's like this the placement golf. You're like, who designed this? Because whoever did at least had some thought
It has a nice flow.
to what disc golf is and what it should be. So I was pretty impressed. Like you said, there's a couple of holes that are laughable, but they're kind of those, hey, let's just make this loop around and get here.
I would say
But then there's a couple holes that are really nice.
one of two things went down with the design of that course. Either somebody just fired into the darkness and got kind of lucky,
Yeah, that's
or
possible.
somebody was specifically setting out to play and to make a course incorporated with this neighborhood that would be something that anybody that's maybe not a disc golfer would be interested in trying to use for as a means of physical activity and getting outdoors and using their trails.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. I think if that was the goal behind it, then hey, buddy,
Did a good job.
Your mission accomplished. Because I think it's a great practice venue. I think the residents of that community are going to be really, really lucky to have
If I lived there, I'd
That's
be
cool.
there every day. That place it's really neat.
Like I said, it's a 45-minute round with 2 people that were kind of goofing off and throwing extra shots and stuff.
Sure.
You can play that course in a half hour.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna retire as a disc golfer, that's definitely the place
that's
you
the
want
place
to
you
live.
If you're living right, if you're stacking your cheddar, you can live like that.
Yeah, it's gonna
one day.
cost you.
You're gonna need some cheddar for sure. It's almost like living on a golf course. Those homes are immaculate. They're amazing. There's not much space in between them. Maybe like 30, 40, 10, 20, maybe 5 feet.
Maybe 10
But
feet.
You get the space inside the home.
Oh yeah, those houses are super nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Will.
Like I said, when you're living in a
Gorgeous.
community locked with your own grocery
I
store,
can look
gas
at
I don't know what
station,
you're
things like
saying
that.
to me.
Put me on the left and put you on the right.
You do it.
So I can look at you, your pretty face.
What?
Yeah, the two screens that sees us.
I mean, before we did the episode would have been the time to do it.
That's why I asked you at the very end.
Possible change for next week.
All right.
Next week I will be looking right at Will.
Yeah.
You will
Sean?
definitely-
Big thank you
Oh,
to you coming
my
out
pleasure.
to the west side.
Wait,
I know,
wait,
I know
wait,
you're
hold on.
way out there.
Red touch,
wait,
social
wait.
distancing, red touch,
Where's the wipes?
Yeah.
distant slap,
What?
distant slap.
Or as Dr. Hoy said at the hospital, people were doing the
bow.
Yeah, well, this was at
Ultra
the Metro
strength.
guy that met us to get our baskets out. Dr. Hoy went to shake his hand, and he just went,
That's awesome.
Is that the new age?
I'm gonna have to do it. Nobody. Yep.
Yeah.
yep. But anyway, guys, that's going to be a wrap for us for episode 75. Thanks for tuning in.
75, the
thanks,
COVID
thanks.
episode.
Yep.
Share, subscribe.
The
tell a
podcast,
friend.
yes.
Oh
please.
yes, please.
Like, share, review, subscribe.
Yes, you have
It
no
costs
idea
you
what
nothing.
a 5-star
Is it free to
click
share?
and review
free to
does
share.
for us.
Is it free to click and like it?
Just a couple clicks, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spotify, iTunes.
That will
Wherever you
help
get
us
your
be able
iPad,
to bring you
yeah,
guys more cool content,
podcast.
because the more we're able to, more value we're able to present as a part of this, then the more cool stuff we can bring into it. So
Yeah.
like, share, subscribe, rate, review, all of those things, please. And
Keep your eyes out for possibly 100 episode giveaway.
oh yeah, we got plenty of
We are
giveaways coming up.
3/4 way to it.
Yeah, buddy.
100.
25 left.
Plenty of giveaways coming up, and nothing but cool stuff in the future. No matter what happens with the tournaments, the podcast will go on. So
That's right. There's only 5 of us. 4, 5.
yeah, stay
sometimes.
tuned.
Even if
Every
we're
week we'll be hitting you guys with the updates and the details on what's new and current. Yep.
Let's go.
Good night, Nashville.
And on that note, it's been real. It's been fun.
But it ain't been real fun.
It's been real fun. What are you trying to say,
it's
man?
been
Hey,
real
you don't have to be here.
no,
Nobody's
I mean,
holding a
it's
gun to
been
your
real
head,
fun.
dude.
That's
Figure
what
out
I
what to
meant,
do
real
with
fun.
Jay after the episode.
That's right. Flogging.
Yep. I shall flog you.
Just be gnashing of teeth.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Wash
We
your
love
hands.
y'all. See you next week.
Deuce.
See ya.
Peace.